Own your morning, elevate your life. With this simple yet powerful idea, Robin Sharma opens the door to one of the most transformative habits a person can adopt, waking up at 5 a.m. Now, you might hear that and immediately think, I'm not a morning person. I can't do it. But here's the truth. The 5 a.m. club is not about being naturally wired to rise early. It's about making a choice to reclaim the quietest, most focused hour of the day and using it to build a life of discipline, clarity, and purpose. Think about it. When was the last time you woke up before the world stirred, when everything was still, when the air itself seemed calmer? In those early hours, distractions are few, demands are silent, and the world hasn't yet placed its weight on your shoulders. This is the window Robin Sharma teaches us to claim, not for emails, not for scrolling on our phones, but for deep self-mastery. Because if you win the morning, you win the day. And if you win enough days, you win your life. The 5 a.m. Club is not just a book, it's a call to action. Sharma, who has spent decades mentoring leaders, entrepreneurs, and changemakers around the world, designed this philosophy to help people escape the cycle of mediocrity and step into greatness. And here's why it's relevant today more than ever. Our world is more distracted than it has ever been. Endless notifications, constant noise, social media feeds that never end. Most people start their day reacting instead of creating. They wake up already behind, already overwhelmed. Sharma's idea flips that on its head. By waking up at 5 a.m. and following a deliberate morning routine, you give yourself a head start. You build your mindset before the world intrudes. You strengthen your body before fatigue sets in. You focus your spirit before chaos arrives. In doing so, you create a foundation so strong that the challenges of the day no longer knock you down. The book itself is written in the form of a story. Instead of a dry list of rules, Sharma weaves the lessons through the lives of characters, a struggling artist, an entrepreneur on the edge of burnout, and a mysterious mentor who guides them toward transformation. This story makes the lessons relatable because we see ourselves in those characters. We too know what it feels like to be stuck, to long for more, to sense that our potential is bigger than the life we're living. And that's exactly why this book strikes such a chord. It's not only about productivity, it's about reclaiming control over your life. In a time where burnout is common, where people often feel like passengers in their own lives, Sharma hands us the steering wheel and says, you have the power to direct your days, your energy, your destiny. At the heart of this philosophy is the idea of the victory hour, the first hour after waking up at 5 a.m. How you use this hour determines how the rest of your day unfolds. Sharma breaks this into what he calls the 20-20-20 formula. 20 minutes of movement, 20 minutes of reflection, and 20 minutes of growth. Simple in structure, but profound in impact. Exercise sharpens your body and releases endorphins. Reflection strengthens your spirit through journaling or meditation. And growth expands your mind through reading or learning. 1 hour, 3 practices, a complete reset for the body, mind, and soul. But here's the key. This is not just about being productive. Sharma emphasizes that the goal is mastery, self-mastery, discipline, resilience, creativity. Because once you master yourself, you can master your craft, your career, your relationships, your contribution to the world. Most people think success is about external strategies. Sharma reminds us it begins with internal victories. And there's a deeper truth here too. By rising early, you're not just gaining time, you're also building character. Think about what it takes to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. It requires discipline. It requires saying no to late-night distractions. It requires commitment. And that consistency builds a foundation of strength that spills into every other area of life. The person who can master the morning can master anything. You might still be skeptical, wondering if an early wake-up can really change that much. But science supports it. Studies have shown that willpower is strongest in the morning before decision fatigue sets in. The brain is fresher, more creative, more capable of deep focus. And when you use that prime energy intentionally, instead of wasting it on shallow tasks, you create exponential results. Sharma isn't asking you to believe in magic. He's asking you to trust the rhythm of nature and biology. And let's not forget the symbolic power of dawn. Throughout history, sunrise has been associated with renewal, beginnings, clarity. To rise with the sun is to align yourself with that natural cycle of renewal. To rise with the sun is to align yourself with that natural cycle of renewal. It's a reminder every morning that yesterday's struggles are over, and today is a new chance to step into greatness. The characters in Sharma's story start out resistant, just as most of us might feel. The idea of changing deeply ingrained habits feels overwhelming, but with guidance and practice, they begin to experience the shift. The artist discovers her creativity deepens. The entrepreneur finds clarity and balance. And slowly they realize that the 5 a.m. habit is not just about mornings, it's about transforming the rest of their lives. And that's the message we're beginning with today. This book is not about being perfect, nor about adopting every rule at once. It's about taking one powerful principle, the power of 5 a.m., and letting it reshape the way you live, the way you think, and the way you show up in the world. Because here's the reality. The greatest enemy of our potential is not lack of talent or opportunity, it's distraction and delay. We keep telling ourselves we'll start tomorrow, we'll change when we have more time, we'll focus when life slows down. But life rarely slows down. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before we know it, potential slips away. The 5 a.m. Club is a rebellion against that cycle. It's a choice to stop waiting and start creating. As we dive deeper in the next part of this journey, we'll unpack how exactly this morning routine reshapes mindset, rewires habits, and unlocks extraordinary levels of focus and creativity. But for now, let this first idea settle. If you own your morning, you begin to own your life. And that ownership is the first step toward greatness. Once you begin to understand the philosophy of the 5 a.m. Club, the next step is to see how the system actually works. Robin Sharma doesn't just say, wake up early, and leave you to figure it out. He gives a framework, a ritual designed to take advantage of the unique power of those early hours. It's called the Victory Hour, and at the heart of it lies the 20-20-20 formula. Picture this. The alarm rings at 5 a.m. The temptation to roll over is strong, but instead, you get up, put your feet on the floor, and decide to claim the day. What do you do with this sacred time? The first 20 minutes are for movement. You exercise, you sweat, you get your heart pumping. This isn't just about fitness, it's about chemistry. Moving your body floods your brain with dopamine and serotonin, releasing stress and unlocking focus. Science shows that morning exercise increases energy throughout the day and boosts brain function. By moving early, you're not just waking up your body, you're igniting your mind. The next 20 minutes are for reflection. This is the time to be still, journal, meditate, pray, or sit in silence. Most of us live in a world of constant noise, running from one task to the next. But true clarity doesn't come in the rush, it comes in the pause. These 20 minutes give you the space to listen to your own thoughts, to align your actions with your values, to remember what really matters. In these quiet moments, you build not just productivity, but peace. And then comes the final 20 minutes. Growth. Here, you read, you study, you learn something new. You feed your mind with wisdom, whether from books, podcasts, or personal study. This is how you turn mornings into a classroom for success. Imagine the compound effect of learning something valuable every single morning for years. That kind of steady growth reshapes your future. This is the 20-20-20 formula. Move, reflect, grow. In 1 hour, you strengthen your body, center your spirit, and expand your mind. It's a holistic reset, aligning all parts of yourself before the rest of the world even wakes up. By the time others are hitting snooze, you're already becoming stronger, clearer, and wiser. But why 5 a.m. specifically? Why not 6 or 7? Sharma explains that 5 a.m. holds a special power. At this hour, the world is quiet. The noise of daily life hasn't yet begun. There are fewer distractions, fewer demands. The brain itself is in a state of heightened creativity, fresh from rest. In these golden hours, you're more capable of deep focus, deep reflection, and deep learning. Later in the day, willpower fades, distractions multiply, and energy dips. But at 5 a.m., you're at your best. And this is where a deeper shift happens. The 5 a.m. habit isn't just about adding time to your day. It's about who you become in the process. Waking up consistently at this hour requires discipline, and discipline in one area spreads into others. If you can master your mornings, you'll find it easier to master your health, your work, your relationships. The simple act of getting up early becomes proof to yourself that you're in control of your life. Sharma also emphasizes the idea of protecting your mornings. My priorities come first. Over time, this habit reshapes your identity. At first, it's difficult. You're tired, resistant, tempted to quit. But as days turn into weeks, you start to notice changes. Your energy increases. Your mind feels clearer. You get more done before breakfast than you used to accomplish in an entire afternoon. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to see yourself differently. You're no longer the person who struggles to stay consistent. You're the person who owns their morning, who rises before the crowd, who values growth enough to fight for it. This identity shift is powerful because ultimately our habits reflect who we believe we are. If you see yourself as someone disciplined, you'll naturally act with discipline. If you see yourself as someone lazy, you'll keep hitting snooze. By adopting the 5 a.m. habit, you're not just changing your schedule, you're changing your self-image. Another important part of Sharma's philosophy is the idea of rest. He reminds us that waking up early isn't about burning out or pushing harder. It's about aligning your lifestyle with balance. To rise at 5, you must also rest earlier. This means respecting your evenings, reducing late-night distractions, and valuing sleep as fuel for greatness. It's not about working more hours. It's about working smarter, with more energy and clarity. Think of it like this. Most people treat life like a sprint, pushing hard until they collapse. Sharma teaches us to treat it like a marathon, strategic, paced, balanced. The 5 a.m. club is not about exhaustion. It's about renewal. It's about starting the day fueled, focused, and prepared so that you can run your race with strength instead of stumbling. And here's where the deeper wisdom shines through. By taking charge of your mornings, you send a powerful signal to the rest of your life. You are in charge. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're creating your world. You're no longer living on autopilot. You're living with intention. That shift, more than the extra hour itself, is what transforms lives. The characters in Sharma's story illustrate this beautifully. The artist, once scattered and insecure, begins to find discipline and inspiration in the quiet hours. The entrepreneur, once overwhelmed and stressed, begins to feel centered and in control. Through their journey, we see ourselves, the struggles of starting, the temptation to quit, the gradual awakening to what's possible when we stick with the process. And this is where the magic happens. The 5 a.m. habit creates space for greatness, space for ideas to flourish, for clarity to arise, for energy to build. Most people say they don't have time for growth. The truth is, they do. It's just hidden in the hours wasted on late nights and distracted mornings. The 5 a.m. club reveals that time, unlocks it, and turns it into a sanctuary for self-mastery. So as we close this part of the journey, let's remember, success is not built on dramatic changes overnight. It's built on small, consistent practices that, over time, reshape who we are. The 5 a.m. habit, combined with the 20-20-20 formula, is one of those practices. It may feel small at first, but its ripple effect is massive. It shapes your days, your energy, your focus, and ultimately, your destiny. In the next part, we'll explore how this habit doesn't just improve productivity, but also creativity, leadership, and contribution. Because the 5 a.m. club isn't just about doing more, it's about becoming more. By now, it's clear that the 5 a.m. club isn't just about waking up early. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle life at its highest levels. But Robin Sharma doesn't stop at showing us how mornings improve discipline and productivity. He shows us how they expand creativity, deepen leadership, and bring fulfillment to every part of life. One of the most powerful gifts of the early morning is creativity. Think about the last time you had a breakthrough idea. Chances are it came when your mind was relaxed, maybe in the shower, maybe while walking, maybe in a quiet moment before bed. That's because creativity thrives in silence and space, and there's no time more silent or spacious than the hours before the world wakes up. Sharma explains that the human brain is most fertile for creative thinking in the early hours of the day. Neurologically, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thought, is less active at that time, while the more imaginative parts of the brain are freer to connect ideas. That's why writers, artists, and inventors often say their best ideas come in the morning. By joining the 5 a.m. club, you tap into this natural state every single day, giving your creativity the space to flourish. The artist in Sharma's story begins to notice this shift. At first, she resists the discipline of rising early, but as she practices the 20-20-20 formula, she discovers that her art flows more easily. Her mind feels clearer, ideas arrive effortlessly, and she creates with a depth she never accessed before. Her story is a mirror for anyone who's struggled with creativity. It shows that brilliance doesn't come from waiting for inspiration. It comes from building the conditions where inspiration thrives. But creativity alone isn't enough to shape a meaningful life. Leadership plays just as important a role. And leadership, as Sharma defines it, isn't just about managing people in a workplace. It's about leading yourself. It's about living with integrity, making bold decisions, and inspiring others through your example. The entrepreneur character in the book embodies this lesson. Overwhelmed by stress and scattered priorities, she learns that mastering her mornings gives her the calm and clarity to lead her company with vision. Instead of reacting to crises, she begins to anticipate them. Instead of burning out, she begins to energize her team. Her leadership transforms because her mornings transform. This is a lesson for all of us. Whether or not we run a company, we're all leaders. Leaders of our own lives, our families, our communities. The world doesn't need more people running on autopilot. It needs people who live deliberately, who rise above distraction, who inspire others by the way they show up. And the way we show up each day is shaped in large part by how we start our mornings. Sharma also introduces another idea, the twin cycles of elite performance. He explains that true high achievement doesn't come from constant hustle. It comes from balancing periods of intense focus with periods of deep rest. This is counterintuitive in a culture that glorifies busyness, but it's essential for long-term excellence. Waking up early allows you to align with this natural rhythm. You push yourself in the day with energy, then recover fully at night with rest. This cycle fuels sustainable growth, not burnout. And then there's the deeper dimension of life, meaning. The 5 a.m. habit creates time not just for work, but for reflection on what really matters. In those quiet minutes of journaling or meditation, you connect with your values, your purpose, your vision for the future. Most people run through life so fast they forget to ask why they're running in the first place. The morning silence gives space to ask and answer that question. Here lies one of the greatest gifts of the 5 a.m. club. It isn't simply about doing more, it's about becoming more. Productivity without meaning leads to emptiness. Achievement without contribution leads to loneliness. But when you master your mornings, you build not just success, but significance. You become someone who creates, who leads, who contributes, who inspires. Another truth Sharma emphasizes is that consistency builds confidence. Each morning you rise at 5, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. At first it feels small, but over time, it becomes who you are. Confidence doesn't come from motivation, it comes from evidence. Each time you keep your promise to yourself, you create evidence that you are disciplined, capable, reliable. And this confidence spills over into everything you do. Even setbacks are reframed in this philosophy. There will be days when you miss the mark, when you sleep in, when you don't follow the formula perfectly. Sharma reminds us that this isn't failure, it's feedback. What matters is returning to the practice again and again until it becomes second nature. Greatness isn't built on perfection, it's built on persistence. Over time, members of the 5 a.m. club find themselves standing apart. While others sleep, they rise. While others drift, they focus. While others chase distractions, they invest in growth. This isn't about superiority, it's about alignment. Alignment with the truth that our mornings are the foundation of our lives and that how we use them shapes who we become. The story in Sharma's book makes this point clear. The artist and entrepreneur, once ordinary, step into extraordinary lives, not because they inherited special talent or resources, but because they chose discipline, they chose growth, they chose to rise before the world. Their transformation is dramatic, but it's also accessible. It shows that anyone, yes, anyone, can reshape their life with one consistent choice. As we near the end of this journey, the message becomes even clearer. The 5 a.m. Club is not a gimmick. It's not a productivity hack or a trendy challenge. It's a philosophy of living. It's a way of saying, I value growth over comfort. I choose intention over distraction. I would rather live a life of purpose than a life of default. And that is why this idea resonates so deeply today. We live in a time when comfort is easy, distraction is constant, and purpose feels rare. The 5 a.m. Club is a rebellion against that tide. It's a daily act of courage, a declaration that your life matters enough to rise early, to grow deliberately, to live fully. So let's carry this into the final part of our script. We've explored the principles, the habits, the mindset shifts. What remains now is the practical call to action. How can you start this journey tomorrow morning? How do you take these lessons from words into action? And how do you hold on to the motivation long enough for them to become your way of life? That's what we'll dive into next. The practical takeaways, the final encouragement, and the reminder that the power to change your life may be waiting just one morning away. So here we are at the end of this journey through the 5 a.m. Club. We've explored the philosophy, the principles, and the mindset. But let's be honest, knowing all of this won't matter unless you put it into practice. Knowledge without action changes nothing. What transforms a life is consistent, deliberate application. The question now is, how do you begin? Robin Sharma is very clear. Transformation doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from small, steady steps. And the very first step is simple. Commit to waking up tomorrow at 5 a.m. That's it. Not next week, not next month. Tomorrow. Of course, the thought of waking up that early might feel intimidating, especially if you're used to hitting snooze multiple times. That's why Sharma introduces what he calls the habit installation protocol. This is the understanding that any new habit takes time to feel natural. Roughly 66 days according to research. In the first phase, it feels hard. In the second, it feels messy. But if you persist in the final phase, it becomes automatic. So expect discomfort in the beginning. Expect resistance. Your mind will give you excuses. I need more sleep. I'll start next week. This isn't for me, but that resistance is a sign you're on the right path. Growth never feels comfortable at first. To make the transition smoother, start by going to bed earlier. You can't rise early if you're still scrolling your phone at midnight. Protect your sleep like a treasure. Create a bedtime routine that signals to your body it's time to rest. Dim the lights, put your phone away, maybe read a few pages of a book. Sleep is not wasted time, it's fuel for greatness. Then when your alarm rings at 5 a.m., get out of bed immediately. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't hit snooze. Stand up, drink a glass of water, and move your body. Even 2 minutes of stretching or jogging in place can break the inertia. Remember, the first 20 minutes of the 20-20-20 formula are about intense movement. Get your blood pumping, and you'll feel awake faster than you think. After exercise, move into reflection, journaling, meditation, or simple quiet breathing. Write down what you're grateful for, what you're aiming to achieve, and how you want to show up today. These minutes shape your mindset for everything that follows. Finally, feed your mind. Read a chapter of a book, listen to an inspiring podcast, or study something new. Even if it's just 20 minutes, those daily inputs compound into massive growth over time. Imagine what 365 mornings of learning could do for your knowledge, your career, your creativity. And remember, your morning doesn't have to look perfect from day one. Don't pressure yourself to follow the 20-20-20 formula flawlessly. The goal is progress, not perfection. Some mornings you'll get it right, some you won't. What matters is showing up again and again until it becomes who you are. Sharma often says that ordinary people love entertainment, but extraordinary people love education. Each morning you dedicate to learning is a morning where you're choosing extraordinary over ordinary. You're saying, I refuse to live on autopilot. I will rise above distraction. I will grow. I will create. I will lead. And here's something else to remember. You're not just doing this for yourself. By becoming the best version of you, you elevate everyone around you. Your family, your colleagues, your friends, they all benefit from your discipline, your clarity, your energy. You become a source of light in a world that desperately needs it. So start tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just set the alarm, rise at 5, and begin. With each passing day, you'll feel yourself becoming stronger, clearer, more intentional. And before long, you'll look back and realize you've joined the 5 a.m. club, and your life will never be the same. Now, as we close, let's remember the essence of this book. The 5 a.m. club is not about punishment, it's about possibility. It's not about deprivation, it's about liberation. It's about freeing yourself from distraction, from mediocrity, from the noise of the world so you can step into the life you were meant to live. Imagine your future self 1 year from now. You rise each day with energy. You create with focus. You lead with clarity. You live with purpose. And it all began with a single choice: to wake up at 5 a.m. and own your mornings. So let this be your invitation. Rise tomorrow with courage. Claim the victory hour. Protect it fiercely. And watch as your mornings shape your destiny. And if this message resonated with you, if you're ready to take your mornings and your life to the next level, then stay connected. Subscribe to this channel for more deep book summaries, practical wisdom, and motivational insights to keep you on your journey. Share this video with someone who needs a fresh start. And in the comments, let us know. Will you join the 5 a.m. club starting tomorrow? Because the truth is, your mornings shape your life, and your life shapes the world. Rise early, live fully, and remember, your greatness begins before the sun comes up.